All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Because, well, everyone dreams of hitting it big, right? We all want that financial freedom, the massive lifestyle upgrades, and honestly, just the sheer relief of never having to stress over a utility bill ever again. Today, we're going to follow our whiteboard stickman protagonist, Lito. He's just had this massive bag of cash dropped into his lap, and he is absolutely thrilled. But we're going to follow Leo as he discovers a much darker, hidden reality of getting rich. We are exploring the silent, and sometimes completely brutal, transformation that your social circle undergoes as your bank account grows from zero all the way up to $5 million.
So, here is the really crucial point. While we are all culturally conditioned to chase massive wealth, absolutely nobody warns you about the invisible tax it levies on the people closest to you. We call this the silent relationship tax. It's a heavy, heavy toll, and it's paid in the transformation and sometimes the total loss of your friendships. Because as your net worth climbs, your social dynamic doesn't just stretch, it fundamentally warps. Okay, let's start at the very beginning of Leo's journey. $0. This is the survival era. Picture the empty apartment, a cardboard box being used as a dining table, and a completely empty pizza box. And you know what? Despite the absolute lack of funds here, there is actually something incredibly pure happening. When Leo and his friends have absolutely nothing, they share what the data actually refers to as the Brotherhood of the Broke. It's this beautiful, purely equal bond. When you're broke and your friends are broke, you hang out because you genuinely, truly just enjoy each other's company. You split a cheap $10 pizza, you drink tap water, and you sit on a couch that someone literally dragged in off the curb. And there is zero keeping of score because, well, there's no score to keep. Imagine the bill comes at a cheap diner. Leo might dig into his pockets for a single crumpled dollar bill, while his friends scrape together, a couple of quarters and a dime. Everyone just chips in exactly what they have. If someone is short a buck, you cover them, knowing for a fact they'll cover you next week. There's absolutely no envy here. It's just a shared struggle. It's a perfectly balanced scale. But this beautiful equilibrium is about to face its very first major test. Fast forward a bit. Leo gets a much better job. He starts saving. Maybe he builds a solid little investment portfolio, and boom, he hits his first $100,000. He is officially out of the survival era. Now, he's not yacht wealthy or anything, but he has a safety net. He is no longer living paycheck to paycheck. But this exact milestone is exactly where the first subtle cracks in those friendships begin to appear. They aren't eating pizza on a cardboard box anymore. Now, Leo is sitting confidently at a nice restaurant with a thick, sizzling steak and a fancy drink, while his friend is nursing a basic side salad and a glass of tap water. The stark contrast in what they can comfortably afford is suddenly sitting right there on the table, plain as day. And then, the waiter drops the check. Leo is suddenly sweating over a complete no-win situation. It's the classic bill-splitting dilemma. Think about it. If you suggest splitting it by what people actually ordered, he looks incredibly stingy, especially since everyone at the table knows he's doing well now. But on the flip side, if he just says, hey, let's split it evenly, he's either quietly resentful that he's subsidizing his friends, or worse, he risks pressuring his friends to spend money they simply do not have. As they walk out of the restaurant, the tension breaks. Well, sort of. A friend nudges Leo and drops this line. Must be nice to order the steak, Mr. Moneybags. Now, they pass it off as a joke. They might even laugh about it. But it is not a joke. As our source material points out, this passive-aggressive little jab is actually the very first seedling of envy taking root in that friendship. Let's jump to the seven-figure mark. Leo is officially a millionaire, practically glowing with his new financial status. But according to the data on social dynamics, the relationship landscape just shifted dramatically beneath his feet. He has officially morphed from being a peer into an outlier. Welcome to the outlier's curse. You are officially no longer one of the guys. You are now a walking, talking ATM machine in the eyes of people who used to view you as a total equal. The moment your old social circle realizes you have serious money, this heavy, unspoken expectation forms. Suddenly, their financial problems become your problems to solve. You face this constant threat of either being treated like a bank or being whispered about behind your back. So now, Leo is trapped in an impossible catch-22. A friend approaches him with a pitch for a guaranteed crypto pizza tech business idea. Or maybe, they just need a small loan to cover rent. If Leo says yes, the data shows he will very likely lose both the money and the friendship when things inevitably go south. But if he says no, He is immediately labeled as greedy, selfish, and totally changed by the money. It is an incredibly stressful place to be. So what does Leo do to cope? To protect himself, he resorts to stealth wealth. He basically starts hiding his success. He trades in his tailored suit for a plain gray t-shirt. He actively chooses to drive a dented 10-year-old sedan. He heavily downplays his investments. He might even sit on the couch and complain to his buddies about how high the electric bill is this month just to fit in. He realizes he literally has to pretend to be less successful just to survive his own social circle. But then, a massive thunderclap hits. We fast forward again, and Leo reaches $5 million. He has achieved complete, undeniable financial freedom. He literally never has to work another day in his life if he doesn't want to. But as he enters this new elite stratosphere of wealth, he realizes something genuinely chilling. It is incredibly, deafeningly quiet up here. Leo is now enclosed in what we call the glass box. Imagine him stuck in there. He can see his old friends out there on the couch waving, but they look miles and miles away. He taps on the glass, but they can't hear him. The gap is no longer just a little crack over a restaurant bill, it's an unbridgeable canyon. The shared experiences that actually built their bond, complaining about bad bosses, struggling with rent, celebrating a tiny raise, those are completely gone. His friends simply can't relate to his stress, and he can no longer relate to theirs. So naturally, Leo tries to make new friends who are at his current financial level. But he is now forced to mentally run every single new person through a highly strict trust filter. Why? Because new acquaintances often come holding hidden hooks, just trying to catch his wealth. The data shows 90% are rejected right away as opportunists, leaving only a tiny 10% sliver of potential true friends. And this creates a profound psychological trap that breeds a deep, hypersensitive paranoia. Every time Leo goes to a dinner party or some networking event, this one question constantly echoes in his mind. Do they actually like me for who I am, or just because of my net worth? He becomes hyper-aware of people asking what he does for a living or what neighborhood he lives in. He's highly visible, highly desired by opportunists, but ultimately deeply isolated inside that glass box. And that brings us to the core realization of this entire explainer. Eventually, the illusion shatters. The glow of the money fades. Picture Leo's glass box dissolving, leaving him as just a plain stick man sitting alone on a park bench. Because the true cost is that wealth doesn't just buy comfort. It buys distance. It distances you from financial worry, sure, absolutely. But it also forcefully distances you from the people who knew you before you had a single dime. But look, stopping your own growth just to keep others happy, that is definitely not the answer either. To beat this invisible tax, you have to completely change your approach. You have to actively seek out individuals who value the plain stickman version of you, not the gold outlines millionaire. You have to find people who measure success by the depth of your character, seeking genuine connection where you can just sit down and share a cheap slice of pizza together. Because at the end of the day, all the money in the entire world can feel incredibly empty if you have no one real to share it with. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If a $5 million net worth leaves you without a single genuine person to split a cheap slice of pizza with, is it really success? Think about that as you navigate your own journey. Keep an eye on those invisible social dynamics, and we will see you in the next explainer.